Hi, yes, excellent. Thank you so much. It's really nice to see you. I'm sorry I can't be there with you. Maybe next year, yeah? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, yeah, I'm Seb Lee-Delisle. I'm a digital artist. I do loads of stuff with lasers. If you've ever seen me at WestVisions before, you know I like to do interactive things. Things like that are interactive that require lots of people to touch stuff. That's kind of a problem right now. So I had to try and figure out a way to get around that. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. But first of all, before I do that, I'm just going to show you what I would normally be doing if it wasn't for all this craziness. I'm just going to show you my show reel, and I can talk you through some of the projects here. So, yeah, so I usually use lasers to project onto buildings. And this project here, Laser Light Synths, I made these electronic synthesizers that anyone could play. And as you play, it visualizes patterns and colors up the wall of the building that you're next to. And then you're seeing other projects. There was the interactive fireworks project, more about that shortly. But you can see lots of other projects where I'm using high-powered lasers to create very bright, sparkly effects on the side of buildings. So this year, I was all set to continue with my plan to replace fireworks, right? I feel like fireworks are something that have had their day. I know, you can argue with me if you want, that's fine. But I feel like fireworks, they're thousands years old, right? They're sparkly, they're pretty, but they're so problematic, right? They're problematic if for the neuroatypical, people with PTSD, anyone with pets. Anyone with pets hates fireworks. It's actually really good timing for this talk because I don't know if you know, but in the UK today, where I am, is actually fireworks night. So November the 5th traditionally is the night where everyone sets off fireworks. So it's very apt that right now I'm talking about the fact that we should replace fireworks. Anyway, so I had a project years ago called Pixel Pyros, and that used normal projectors. But this year I wanted to scale it up to the next level using lasers, and that's what this project is. It's called Electric Laser Flares, and we just did a little test of it in Aberdeen in February. And I don't know if you can see in this footage, it's quite dark, but there are these LED light sticks, and they light up, and you touch the stick, and a little pattern of LEDs flies up the stick, and when it gets to the end, it becomes a laser, and it carries on out the end. And so that was my first experiment to try and take this fireworks replacement to the next level. And of course, in my argument about fireworks, I didn't even mention the ecological impact, the environmental impact of fireworks, plus also, the danger aspect. Anyway, so many arguments against fireworks. With this project, I can create the spectacle of fireworks, but you can get right up close and interact with them, and you can run it all night. It's not all burnt up in smoke in 10 minutes. This can carry on all night. So, go back to February this year. I'd just done this experiment in Aberdeen, and I was all set to take this project to the next level. I had at least 3 or 4 bookings in for the rest of the year. I was going to make more and more of these light sticks. I was going to make 30 of them and do some really big installations. And then, of course, COVID happened, and myself, along with all the other light artists that I know, found themselves in limbo, right? They couldn't, they had all these potential commissions, but the light festivals just didn't know whether they could go ahead or not. So, obviously, as with everyone, I was completely unsettled. I had no idea what I was going to do. I actually spent a bit of time working on PPE, protective gear for the NHS with my 3D printer. I just stopped doing light stuff, lasers, and started 3D printing stuff. I'm sure there's been campaigns all across Europe, so you probably know the kind of thing. But then around March, I don't know if it happened in Germany as well, but in the UK, and I know in other countries in Europe, we started a kind of a convention of applauding the health workers every week. And that was, we were so appreciative of our health service at the time. But I was thinking, well, I've got all these lasers lying around. Can't I do something with my lasers to show my appreciation for the NHS? By the way, you might be able to see in the background, I do have a laser. Maybe I'll turn it on later. Who knows? If that's something you want to see, let me know in the chat. I think I can see the chat. Anyway, so back to February, March. I was like, can I use my lasers to show my appreciation for the NHS? So I've actually got a balcony outside where my flat is, and we're at the top of a hill, at the top of a building, and I realised I could put my lasers on the balcony and project beams into the sky and messages of support for the NHS. I got my clearance with the CAA. You don't have to worry about that. I'm sure there are just as many rules in Germany. But this is my view from the flats. You can see I've got a really good view across the skyline of Brighton. And see that big white building there, the big tower block, that comes into play a bit later as well. So here are my little lasers. I didn't even have my big lasers. My big lasers were in storage somewhere. These are little ones. They're 4 watts, so they're still pretty bright, but not the really big ones that I have. And I realized that, so I was projecting messages saying thank you NHS, projecting hearts on the buildings nearby. I wonder if I've got some footage of that. Let's have a look. Let's just skip it forward a bit. There you go. So that's me lining up the lasers on the building. That building is called Sussex Heights. And once I'd lined it up, it's about 1,000 meters away. It's really far. So I've never really projected on a building so far away before. But here you can see I'm projecting the NHS logo. That's the National Health Service, and a nice heart. And as we went along, I'd project more hearts and more laser beams in the sky. And it was such a, I didn't really think too much of it at the time. It was just, something I did. But I realised that there was so many people who enjoyed it, who really responded well to it. And there were messages on Twitter asking where the laser beams were coming from. And people were just excited that something a bit different was happening. Obviously, we'd been in lockdown for a few weeks by then. And I feel like at times like this, when we're in lockdown, we've just gone into lockdown in the UK. I think it's probably the same in Germany. But yeah, while you're in lockdown, the theatres are all closed, the cinemas are closed, there's no live music. To provide something like this that's just a little bit different, that people can get excited about, people seem to really respond to. And that kind of got me thinking, well, couldn't I do an interactive laser project that would work completely in lockdown, whether we were allowed out or whether we weren't allowed out? And that's really where I came up with the idea for Laser Light City. So Laser Light City, the idea is that I'll get these big massive lasers, point them in the sky, and you can connect with your mobile phone and interact with the laser beams, and I can install these all around the place. And so it's an interactive art project that's a bit different. So I spent the summer kind of researching stuff because I'd never really used lasers this big before. So you can see here is like an outdoor laser. It's a 30 watt laser. So up until now, the lasers I considered big are 11 watts. So I had to get even bigger ones in order to get beams that were strong enough to be visible in the sky. And here's one here. It's really heavy. It's really powerful. The beams are even visible in complete daylight, right? Which is kind of shocking. So I had to do some tests with that. But after a few tests, I got together with some local groups, Same Sky and some others, and I got permission to install lasers on Sussex Heights and do a test run for Laser Light City. And here's a little video I've got here from the events. So you can see we got Sussex Heights. We also had 2 other venues in the centre of Brighton, which is on the south coast, which is where I live. I'm just getting a message that my computer hard drive is nearly completely full. Ugh, computer issues, eh? Hopefully that'll that'll be okay now. So yeah, I put these lasers on these buildings around Brighton, and you can see they're so bright, and people all across the city were connecting with their phone and interacting through a little mobile interface. It was a really huge project. So the thing I kind of skipped over was like 4 or 5 months of solid development. This project was really complex. Essentially, it was like a really complicated website, right? Multiple servers. The idea was to get it as low latency as possible. Sorry, I'm still getting messages about my hard disk space. It's so embarrassing and unfortunate. Well, hopefully my computer won't come grinding to a halt, but we'll see what happens. So, yeah, so that was a huge success in Brighton. Yeah, I'd glossed over the months of work that I'd spent because it was really important to me that this project could handle thousands of people connecting to the app all at once. And also there was like almost no latency between you moving your finger on your phone and the laser moving in the sky. So all during this time, I was trying to sell the project to the light festivals that had previously commissioned me to do a project with some of my light sticks or the fireworks or whatever, to see if they'd be interested, because really this project was designed for them, right? For the light festivals that didn't know if they could go ahead, couldn't commission stuff, they couldn't cancel anything, and thankfully Light Night Leeds was the first one to really commit to this project on a really big scale. So I'd put together some proposals with suggestions of maybe 1 site, 3 sites, 5 sites of lasers. And of course, Leeds came back to me and was like, how about 7 sites? Do you want to do 7 sites? And I was just like, okay, sure, bring it on, no problem. Slightly daunted by the prospect, but thoroughly excited and really pleased that they'd gone for it in such a huge way. It was absolutely brilliant. So here's some footage. I literally just got back from Leeds last week. We were there for over a week. It was kind of the biggest project I've ever done, really. There was probably almost 20 crew just on my side, and there was, probably the same amount of people on the council side. All of those different buildings, all the different hardware, so much so much logistics involved in getting set up, getting to all of those different venues, getting into the venues, dealing with people, getting internet to the venues. But we made it work, and it was a really huge success. There were, over the 3 nights that it ran, there were 30,000 interactions with the app and with the lasers on the sky. We had over 25 lasers altogether in the end. Yeah, and there were, like I say, there were 7 landmark buildings, some of them really historic. See that tower block you just saw? That's called Bridgewater Place, and we put 6 lasers on that, and that was incredible. It could be seen for miles and miles and miles around. We were having reports of sightings of the laser beams overhead, like 20, 30, 40 miles away. It was absolutely incredible. And at the time, Leeds wasn't in a complete lockdown, so you could walk around the city and try and find some good viewing spots to see the lasers. So I thought it might be fun to set up a laser and set up the interface so I can show you what's happening. It's over there in the corner. Let me just go... What do I have to turn on? Let me go and turn it on. Hold on a second, don't go away. I must look into the laser as I'm doing it. Okay, so that's switched on. Let's just zoom out a little bit so you can see more of it. Right. Okay, I'm just setting up the system. Let me just do a test pattern. So there you go. You can see the lasers running. It's literally right over my head, but I think it's safe. Is it getting my hair? Probably. Don't do this at home, it's really dangerous. Okay, so we've got the laser running. You can see it's, oh my goodness, That's such a strong beam. It's actually not a really big laser. It's 4 watts. Um, I think when I brought some lasers to WestVisions a couple of years ago, the lasers were maybe 10 or 11 watts, something like that. So comparatively speaking, this is quite a small laser, but obviously in my small workroom, it's pretty intense. Okay, let's see if I can open up the app so I can demonstrate that to you. So here it is. So this is the app. I can join the queue, but there's no one in the queue right now. But this is just to show you the interface. You can see as I tap and drag across that, there's no cheating going on here either. This is going to the internet and back. And I don't know if you can see, there are all these little options I can choose. Like this one turns it into a fan, like this. I'll let you guys have a go at this in a minute so you can try for yourself. And you can change the colours. We've got green, blue. It's really hard to do this backwards. There you go, pink. Everyone chose pink. And there's different shapes you can choose and different patterns. Like this little triangle one is quite a new one. It's quite fun. Can you see that? Right, so I guess you all want to have a go on this, and that's fine. You can do so by visiting app.laserlightcity.com, and then you can join the queue yourself and have a go on the lasers. So yeah, let's see if anyone goes online. Can I see anyone? No one's joined the queue yet. Can you get to it? I can't. I can't see any chat, so I've got literally um, zero interactions with the audience. Oh, is that happening? Yes, there's some people in the queue. All right, let's turn that off then. Okay, what are they going to do with it? We can see on the phone what they're doing. Oh, sparkles. I'm just going to leave this running for like I don't know, however long I've got left. I'm just going to leave it running. So as you're seeing it, there might be some significant latency because of the video stream. But as you could see on the phone, if you're looking at the laser, there's like, very minimal latency. You can't really see any latency at all. I'm noticing there that my laser needs a bit of alignment. I should have done that really before I came on. You probably wouldn't notice. Most people wouldn't. It's just me. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that running. Oh my god, it's quite a bright beam to be so close to. It looks good though, doesn't it? In the video. Oh, there's 7 people in the queue. I wonder what the So I can show you a bit about how I run it in the back end. Oh no, I think I closed it. Um, but there's no, I can't show you that. Sorry. All right, scratch that. But there's different settings that I can do. Oh, at the moment, I think it looks like it's a minute of interaction. I should have turned that down. Let me go onto the admin site, and I'll just change that so people get of a less of a wait. Right, so I'm just going into my admin system. So at the moment, people get 45 seconds. Let's change it to 20 seconds. So now, if you're in the queue, it shouldn't take so long to get to the end. All right, how am I doing for time? Let's have a look. So, okay, I've come to about just around 20 minutes, and I've kind of run out of things to say. So, if I'm going to try and get onto the live chat, let's see if there's any questions there. Let's have a look. Q&A. Right. I don't think the questions there aren't for me. All right. Well, I'm just going to stand here awkwardly, waiting for someone to ask me things. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed hearing a bit about Laser Light City and what I've been up to during this very strange year. I'd kind of like to bring this to Germany, right? I could probably run it from here even. So yeah, let's talk CrankyCon people. let's bring some lasers over there and have Laser Light City in Duisburg or Düsseldorf or any of those good places. Right, I'm just gonna have a look to see if I can find find the chat. Help me out, someone at CrankyCom. I'm feeling really awkward and exposed. Right, I'm in this. Yes, I can. What's happening over there?
So, Zeb, first of all, thank you for your talk. It's always a pleasure to hear from you and also for the fascinating pictures. Yeah, we have some questions in the Q&A. And as we have some time left, we can do them live.
Sure, let's do it.
If that's fine for you?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so the first question I can see here is how did you get the funding for this initially, so the Arts Council?
Yeah, so funding came from a few places. I noticed you cropped into me. Don't crop into me, crop into the laser. Everyone wants to see the laser, they don't want to see me. Yeah, I got some emergency funding from the Arts Council England because of all the arts organisations were struggling, and so they set up a campaign to help people like me who lost all of their work. And so that was great. I got a small grant from the Arts Council to help towards the cost of developing it. It didn't really pay for much of the lasers, but it was a start. And then I guess other than that, it was I can go here. I'll move closer to the laser. And then really the rest of the cost of developing was through the first booking from Leeds, because Leeds obviously was a huge project, and so it had quite a big budget. So yeah, a bit of Arts Council and then a bit of money from the Leeds project itself.
All right, thank you. I think that answered the question. And we have one more, Bianca.
Yes, one.
It's a bit depressing, isn't it?
That's
the only thing they could think of is like the money side. Is that it? I've got these massive lasers. Don't you want to know about that? You just want to know about the accounting.
Maybe. So, Margarita.
This one isn't about accounting, is it?
No, it's about whether it's legal in the UK.
Yeah, of course.
Just to use lasers and laser things on walls.
Is it legal? Yeah, I mean it's legal, but there are government guidelines you have to adhere to. It's not. I think it's stricter in Germany, but in the UK you at least need to prove that you're you know what you're doing and come up with safety documents. When you're pointing laser beams into the sky, like I was, then there's a whole other level of stuff you need to do. In my case, I need to contact the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority. They need to be notified and give you permission. In Brighton, it's never really an issue because there aren't any big airports that close to Brighton, so it's not like a flight path. So in Brighton, it's never really an issue. In Leeds, it was a whole other story because it's quite close to Leeds Bradford airports, and so we would have to be in contact with air traffic control every night, and they would, you know, they'd tell us if a plane was going to go over. It was actually, they were really incredibly helpful, and once they'd kind of figured out what we were doing and whether it would be an issue, they were very accommodating. They basically got to the point where they said, look, we've let the pilots know it's happening. If they if they want us to turn it off, then we'll tell you, but otherwise you can just leave it going. Like the first night or two they were like, oh yeah, we'll tell you when a plane goes over and you can turn it off. But by the third night it was like they're much more easygoing because they knew it didn't really represent a danger to the aircraft. So yeah, really helpful. Constant communication. I had to program in an airplane mode as well, which stops all the lasers. I'll turn it on now so you can see it. Let's have a look. Right, blam. So the laser's switched off, and on the phones you should even see a little notice saying that you're in airplane mode. That, can you see that? Site temporarily closed for aircraft. And then I can turn it back on again once the airplane's left. And we've got lasers again, yay!
Great. Yeah, we talked about that before. Thanks for the insights. And Tim asks, are your lasers custom products especially for your demands?
No, not really. They're fairly standard RGB lasers. They have an ILDA interface. That's the standard laser interface. My software is custom written. The laser control software, I don't work with anyone else's software. It's all completely written from scratch. And in this project, there was a lot of Node.js on the servers, multiple servers to spread the load amongst all the visitors. And that spoke to that communicated with a C++ app in Open Frameworks that actually controls each laser at every site. But the lasers themselves are fairly standard. They're just really massive.
All right. And there's directly the next question from Margarita again. Could or did you participate in those light festivals that are happening in some cities around Europe?
Have I ever in the past, or
Yeah,
well, either way, it doesn't matter because
I
I
think so.
haven't really, I haven't done too much out of the UK, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. Do you know any? Put me in touch. I'd love to bring a whole bunch of lasers to. I'm very aware that there are lots and lots of light festivals throughout the UK and across the rest of Europe. And yeah, I'd love to come and install this project there. Obviously, Brexit
Yeah.
is a huge pain, and you know, trust me, I wish it had never happened. I'm not a fan, and that's caused it to be somewhat trickier. But I'm sure I could still bring this project to Europe. I wouldn't even necessarily have to go there myself, like I said. So yeah, hook me up.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the answer. I think we are done with the questions. And yeah, matching the last question and your answer, I would say we hope we can have you and your lasers live here for the next WestVisions. But
Oh yeah,
anyways,
that'd be
thank you
nice.
for your online talk and the insights in your work from this year. And yeah, have a lovely day. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Look forward to seeing you in
Yeah, of
person
course.
soon when all this stuff is over.